Hey guys, Greg Mercer here, and today I am joined by TannerJFox. Tanner, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
I am doing excellent. Thanks for chatting with me today. I'm excited to talk to you, learn a little bit more about your story, your history, what got to you to kind of where you're at today, and what types of exciting things you have coming up in the future. So, you want to just start us off real quick and tell us a little bit more about yourself and your history?
Yes. So my name is TannerJFox, and I've kind of been an entrepreneur for the last 3 or so years. Right now, I'm 22 years old, and I kind of started when I was in my third year of college, around 19. I started just looking at different things online, trying to figure out a way to make money. My goal since I was probably 16 or 15 was I want to own a Lamborghini before I'm 25. And I always say that. I never knew how. I would just say it and people would just like shake their head. I'm like, I will. I don't know how. But long story short is I started looking up ways to make money online, and I found Amazon and started watching a lot of information on YouTube and different courses and whatnot, and picked up Jungle Scout and started doing that, and failed for the first 6 months straight because I didn't know what I was doing with the normal learning curve. But then finally started seeing results about 3 years ago now, and started doing pretty well. Bought my first car, which was a Corvette Stingray, and then started a YouTube channel last year, and just now do a variety of different entrepreneurial type things. And it's pretty much the basics. Goes into a lot of different things, but
I'm curious a little bit more like how you kind of became like an entrepreneur. Like at any point, did you have like another job that you're working for someone else, or like straight out of school, you started doing your own thing? Or talk us a little more about maybe like the transition, because I think that's probably like where a lot of people are at, and they're where they might be stuck at.
so I went to community college for 2 years, and the very last semester of that, I hated school. I thought I had to go. I was getting a business degree and just doing my general eds at a community college. And I would leave every class early. I would do bad on tests. I would probably get like C's and D's mainly, just trying to pass. But I did not like it. As far as jobs, I never had like a full-time job. I had a couple part-time where I'd never worked more than like 4 hours straight. And those were really painful for me. I hated it. It wasn't so much having a boss, but I just felt very uncomfortable. And I'm weird when it comes to how I work. I can work certain times during the day, and then other times I can't. So I was like, shoot, I can't have a 9 to 5. Like it's the schedule I want. But the main motivating factor to begin, honestly, was I wanted to make more money. I was also very bored. It was summer of me transitioning into a 4-year college. I was going to go to Cal State Fullerton for business, and I ended up going for a year and then dropping out. But the main motivation was I'm kind of bored. What can I do? And I'm like, oh, I should figure out how to make money. That'd be awesome. And then I started seeing all the results and looking at people online. I'm like, oh my God, that's actually like possible. Maybe I can get a Lamborghini before I'm 25. That seems crazy. And it all kind of just stemmed from that. And then seeing all the results, what's possible. So it starts with that kind of like selfish, like money goal. But then as you go on and you get that or other things, you see it's really about the freedom and then building things and just the whole entrepreneurial thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people share that a little bit of that same history, or the same motivations that you have. Like I think for most people starting out, it's like I just want more money. Because like until you've kind of like reached a certain point that like you have more money than you really need, it's like it's kind of hard not to think about that, right? For like the things that it could potentially buy you, the inconveniences it could get rid of in your life. It's obviously very like glamorized, like in culture and everything else. And then once you get there, it's like, oh wow, then now I can start thinking about what really makes me happy. And for some people it's just more money, other people it's like, oh okay, like a lot of the other things, what brings me more joy or happiness as well. What about for you? Besides besides that Lamborghini, what else kind of like motivates you, or what do you like about it now that you've been successful with it?
I just really enjoy the work. Some things obviously I don't, like if I have to film for a day straight for YouTube, but I really enjoy just seeing progress. So I'm not so much passionate about like one specific niche or field of business. I'm really passionate about seeing growth and progress, no matter what it is, whether it's in the gym or me playing video games or me building a business. Just that, and then seeing the impact you can have for someone who's just like a kid. It's crazy to me how many people you can impact and change just from that.
So did you make like that, essentially that first dollar, the first entrepreneurial dollar on FBA, or was it some other means? Or
I actually did Kindle book selling for about a month, and I was making like $50 a month.
That wasn't going to get you the Lamborghini?
That's when I bought it. No. And I was like, all right, this kind of works, but it's not the goal. It's kind of slow. So I'm going to look into Amazon because Kindle's on Amazon. It was similar. So it was an easier transition. But Amazon was the first time I ever made more than $250 a month. As I'd work part-time jobs, and that was it.
So you said the first 6 months you like kind of struggled, maybe failed in a little bit. How much revenue do you think you're at per month after like year one? Do you remember?
So I know my best month of the first 6 months. Well, I did a launch and I did giveaway, so it like skewed it. But my best like organic month was like $1,200 in revenue, which I believe was around $300 profit for me. And that was the best of the first 6 months. And I'm not saying this because you're on my video, but I did not use Jungle Scout at all. And as soon as I picked up Jungle Scout is when it actually started doing well and I found my first good product. Nice. So I was like, oh, let me look at BSR. And I was like, no. But, and then as soon as I did that, my first product went from 8,000 first month, then 15,000 the next, and 20,000 from that single product. So it grew like crazy. And then I just started adding a couple more products as I could and really growing that. My first year, I ended at 272,000 revenue.
Cool.
And that's with 6 months of failing first. So
I'm glad you talk about the 6 months of failing, because I think that's something that, like a lot of people, they don't bring up like their failures or like the hardships as much. And then I think when people get started, and it's like, oh man, like I've been selling on Amazon for 3 months, like this product isn't doing very well, or like I'm having problems, or like whatever else. And the fact of the matter is, like, everyone runs into all these like roadblocks and hardships and like troubles along the way. A lot of people just don't talk about it. They want to talk about some of like the, all the successes instead. That's what's like more fun to like chat about your friends with, right? Do you remember some of like the harder or darker times in the first 6 months, or some horror stories that you could share?
It'll be an Amazon one. It is, I had my one listing that was making me a good amount of money as soon as my first listing that ever did well. I was using a trademarked word, which I didn't know about, and my listing got taken down for about a month. So I went from making like 15,000 a month to making 0 because of that. And I was like, oh crap, what do I do? Like I was freaking out. And then luckily I got it back within a month and back up to where it was and whatnot. That's really the only one I've had on Amazon that was scary. The other hardship that I had was, so I was living at home. It's the first time I was young, and my parents would not let me drop out of college. I started Amazon, started doing around 30,000 profit a month. And they're like, no, you got to stay in college, blah, blah, blah. Just driving my $80,000 car to college. And I was like, this is stupid. I didn't go to any of the classes. I would just fail them. And because they would help me out. They were paying for college because they were kind of making me going. But if I failed any classes, I would have to pay for them. So it was getting them to allow me to drop out. And as soon as I started YouTube and other ventures other than just Amazon, and kind of had multiple sources of income, and they decided to hire me out, and they're like, okay, now you can take a break, they said. And they kind of like saw it all full compass, and now I actually employ them. So it's funny.
I imagine there's a lot of people watching this right now, all right? And they hear your story. It's very inspirational. Like a lot of people are watching this right now while they're sitting in class at college and like, this sucks. Like, I don't like school. Like, this isn't for me. Or, maybe like I like this fine, but like I know like there's more to, more for me in life than like just this. Do you have any like tips or advice or any words of wisdom that you could share with them that you think could help them out?
Yes. So the one thing I always say is, find someone who's doing something you want to do or living kind of like how you want to live. Figure out what they're doing. And let's just use Amazon as an example. I saw someone, they're making money. They were living kind of a lifestyle I wanted. They were selling on Amazon. So I was like, okay, let me look into selling on Amazon. I see multiple people doing well with Amazon. So I know it's something that works. And then just go after that thing for a year. And if you can't make it worth it in a year, then okay, maybe switch. But I see too many people try 1 or 2 products or try for a month or 2 and say, oh, Amazon doesn't work. Oh, it's too competitive. Oh, this. And they'll switch to something else, and maybe they'll try 4 different things for 3 months. Well, imagine if you stuck with that one thing, learned all the little things you did wrong for a whole year. it's pretty hard to fail for a full year if you're seeing what you did wrong and adjusting. Like I said, it took me 6 months and 4 products.
I'm actually really glad you said that, because I think that actually is like, for most people getting started, I think that's like one of like the biggest struggles that young entrepreneurs have. And I had the same thing. And it was like a lack of like focus or like dedication to maybe like one thing, whether that's like a marketing channel or a certain type of selling physical products or like whatever else, right? Because like, I guess it's really easy when you're actually the one doing the work, and like it's hard, right? And it's like you're not quite getting the results you had expected at first, and you're trying to refine it or whatever else. And then it's always really easy to just say like, oh, well, that one didn't work for me, so let me go jump over and do something like totally different, because like I just saw like another dude on YouTube or whatever else, and he's having like tremendous success with that. But in reality, right, it's like any marketing channel, or like whether you're selling on Amazon or like doing something else, like all of those individually can like work well, right? And you can like be successful with them. But the fact of the matter is, like, to be successful, you kind of have to become a little bit like a master of that craft, right? So after like 2 or 3 months, like you probably haven't quite mastered the craft yet. So that's probably why you're not getting kind of like the results that you've seen others get. So I'm actually really glad you said that. I think that is like the number one probably like problem, or like the hardest thing or area where most young entrepreneurs trying to get started kind of miss out on.
Definitely, because they want the quick money, and their goal is the money and not really to build something. If it was to build something, it would be easier to stick with. And they don't realize that the money is in building something like a business like that. So Can you tell me, my audience, your story? I want to know. I don't even know it.
Yeah, right on. So I went to college to be a civil engineer. I did through the whole thing, graduated, but like the whole time I kind of similar to you. Like I was like, school is just not really for me. I did fine. Like I got like decent grades or whatever, but like it was really hard. It wasn't enjoyable. I was just like, it was just like pulling teeth, like to try to get me to go through it. You know, I didn't like it at all. Like my whole life I had this strong entrepreneurial spirit, but I didn't really know like how to like get started like with my first business or whatever. Kind of like society tells you that like, oh, you need to go to college and then get a real job and whatever else. So I was kind of just like followed along with that. I like got a real job, worked in like corporate America for this engineering firm for a few years, or for like a couple years. And then I started selling on Amazon. And this was in, I think like 2012. So at the time there wasn't really like much chatter on the internet about selling on Amazon. It was like a pretty new thing. No one the private labeling didn't really exist then. Like you could research about like how to import goods from China, and you could like research like how to sell on Amazon a little bit and like all these other things, but you had to like put them together. There wasn't like kind of like courses or education like you put out or like Jungle Scout puts out or whatever to like, kind of like walk people through the steps. But I ended up like launching a few products. I was also selling some goods like wholesale, and I was able to like replace my engineering income with like my Amazon FBA and like the profit from that. That's at which point I quit my job, took it full time. I then convinced my wife to quit her job, and actually that's when we started traveling. So for pretty much the past 3 years, up until January of this year, my wife and I were like full-time nomads, just traveling around the world. So for like 3 years, we went to like 40 different countries, spent like about a month in each country. During that time, I was running my Amazon FBA business as well as starting and growing Jungle Scout. So yeah, that's kind of like the rest is history. You know, now I spend most of my time working on Jungle Scout, but I still have my FBA business. It still does well. I still launch new products with it. I still enjoy doing it and like being kind of like still kind of like in the weeds of like what's working, what's not. Like I still launch new products to see what's working, whatever else. And that like translates to like helping the software side of things like improve our tools as well. So yeah, that's my story. And man, it's so crazy to think, you know, that just like it wasn't that long ago that, you know, like sitting in the office, like trying to figure out like how to get out of there. You know, like trying to figure out what to do. Like I remember all the same struggles as like a lot of people are having that are watching this right now, and like the work that it took. You know, speaking about like being like dedicated to something, I remember like I was working like a full day, and then I would come home, I would like eat dinner, and then at like 7 o'clock, I'd like go to Starbucks, crush like a huge coffee, and I'd be there until like 2 a.m. And then I'd have to go to work. I'd like have to wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work the next day. And I pretty much did this for like a full year. So like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night for like a full year to like essentially like, you know, like again, like perfect my craft, which at the time was selling on FBA. So essentially like kind of like 2 jobs. So again, that kind of like goes to show that it does like take hustle and like a little bit of determination and hard work and stuff for like anyone watching this.
But when it's fun like that to start and you're like passionate about it, it doesn't feel like hard work.
Totally. And then once you get like that first sale, I remember that was like the best feeling in the world. It's like, wow, like all this actually works. And then like get some more sales and launch a new product and it starts doing well. Then like you can start kind of like thinking into the future, like, wow, what if I had 10 of these products and like they're each making me say like $1,000 a month? Well, it's like, oh my God, that's $10,000 a month. That's like way more money than I was making as an engineer. And then, yeah.
That was my exact thinking. That's the same process I went through. What drove you to start selling on Amazon? Was it just too much time at the job, you weren't enjoying it, or what was it?
Man, at the time, I think I was literally like, I'm willing to do anything, like just to start my own business or just like make money outside of this. And I don't exactly remember how I ended up on Amazon. I think I was just like I think I probably was literally like Googling like how to make money online or whatever. I was looking at all the different things. Like at the time, people were building like these like niche affiliate sites, but like they kind of just got hammered by like a new, one of the Google updates. I was like looking at all kind of like all these other options at the time. I was like buying and selling domain names. And then I think I got word about like some people selling on, or like, I guess I like figured out about like Amazon FBA and like they would store the goods and ship. And it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Because before that, I thought it was all like eBay or something. I'd like store all the goods myself and like ship them. It's like, dang, that sounds like a lot of work. Or just like work I didn't want to do. So then I think when I found out about FBA, it's like, okay, cool. Like, how do I find goods to sell there? And at first, I didn't know anything about like private labeling or importing goods from China. So I was like reaching out to brands, like try to set up wholesale accounts to order goods from there and then send them into Amazon. So that's how I got started a little bit. And then I figured out about like importing goods directly and private labeling them and stuff.
That's kind of what I started with the make money online, seeing affiliate marketing, Kindle publishing,
right?
Amazon, so many different ones.
And that's like overwhelming in itself, right? Because it's like, wow, there's all these different things. Like they're totally not related, and everyone's just whatever. Everyone has like a different opinion. And like I said, like a lot of these like different things work. You just need to like go all in on one and just like make one, make it happen.
That's one of the mistakes I see people seeing is trying to figure out what works because there's so many things. They're like, well, it sounds too good to be true. Well, you're not just going to flip a coin and get the money, but they all work if you know what you're doing. So it's not, oh, let me find which one is the one that works and the others don't.
Right.
And the switch you kind of get, which you're probably at now, is, oh my God, there's so many opportunities. Which is the best one I can choose? Not which one works, because they all work.
That's like the largest problem that most entrepreneurs have. Like once they kind of like become a little bit like successful, right? Or like have found different things that work. It's like, man, I know I can make money like 100 different ways. It's more so like, what's like the highest value one for me? Or more so for me, actually, it's like, what's the highest value, but also like, what would I enjoy doing the most? So it's like, well, some things like I could probably be really successful at, but like I wouldn't really enjoy doing them that much. So yeah, totally. Tanner, tell me a little bit more about what you have kind of like in the pipeline. What excites you these days? How are you gonna spend most of your time, let's say like for the next year?
I've been really trying to grow my YouTube channel a lot. And I recently started Shopify as well with my Amazon. So I want to play with both and really just scale those, as well as kind of teach other people how to do them as I learn or from what I've learned, because it's just changed so much in my life. So it's pretty much just really building and growing those and just scaling things up for next year when trying to do big things. How about you though? What's in yours?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same. It's I'm going to continue to scale up my Amazon FBA business, and I'll probably continue to devote most of my focus to the software side of things. So a lot of focus on just improving Jungle Scout, improving our other tools. Now we have Jungle Scout, which is a product research, but there's also Fetcher, which is profit analytics, Splitly, A/B testing tool for Amazon sellers, JumpSend is to like launch your products and send follow-up emails. We recently launched a new marketplace called the Jungle Market. So it's like a place to hire pre-vetted Amazon experts to do services for your business. So it's like if you're looking for someone to like take photos with you or write your copy or whatever, you can hire them on there. So that's pretty cool. And started a podcast just recently called Go Pitch Win. It's like a Shark Tank style podcast where people come on and pitch their businesses to myself and a guest judge. And at the end of each season, we give $10,000 prize to one person. So yeah, those are some of the things I'm excited about and working on.
Damn, How do I apply to that one?
GoPitchWin.com, man. Yeah, we just finished season 1 a few weeks ago. They haven't all been released yet. But yeah, we're actually already for anyone watching this, we are taking applicants for season 2. So what you do is you just record a short video yourself, go to gopitchwin.com, submit it there. It's like about your business. And if you get selected, then you pitch your business to myself and a guest judge. 10 people per season. And one of those 10, whoever's the best pitch gets the $10,000 to invest in their business.
Well, I'm definitely applying now. So
right on. Cool. What are some of the things you're focusing on with your YouTube channel? What can we expect in the future from it?
I really want to focus more on Amazon and the Shopify because I kind of went in general for a little bit, trying to help people with like starting LLCs and just anything that really benefits entrepreneurship or just self-development in general. So I really want to focus down on a niche like Amazon again and really teach that in depth and get more people up and going and doing that. So pretty much anything entrepreneurial, mainly Amazon though.
How was the Shopify store working out for you so far?
It's been a lot more work to set up than I thought. I launched it for a day or two and then it wasn't what I wanted. So I took it down and I'm rebuilding it all, but it's a lot of work and outsourcing the stuff I'm doing that takes time. So hopefully within the next month, it will be up and going, but I really want to try and grow that brand. So it's not really just here's my Shopify store. It's a brand in general that I'm passionate about and want to grow.
Awesome. Tanner, well, it's been fantastic chatting with you. I've really enjoyed this. So we all have to know, have you gotten the Lambo yet, or is that still a goal to be hit soon?
I have. I actually ended up getting my first one about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, and then about 2 months ago. So I originally got the Lamborghini Huracan, and then about 2 months ago, I just upgraded to the Lamborghini Aventador SV. For those of the people that are car people.
Now that you've hit your goal, you peaked too soon, man. You hit your goal too young.
No, you got to build the garage now. I'm really focusing this year on putting a lot more in investments because I have some, but they've done really well. So I was like, oh, well, if I put that money more into investments, so you got to have the fun and the investments. So that's really my focus is I don't plan on spending any money this year. It's going to be all towards investments. So.
Tanner, it's been great, man. I appreciate you chatting with me for a little while. It's great to hear more about your story, and we appreciate all of the tips and advice that you've given all of the listeners.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.